guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we're building a desert house in Oasis Springs, and I don't build in Oasis Springs very much because, to be honest, I think it's my least favorite world to build in. Probably the only world that I have that I build in less than Oasis Springs is Forgotten Hollow, and I genuinely don't even think about that unless it's in October. I think they're both pretty worlds though, so it's not like I have anything against them, but yeah, I don't really build in Oasis Springs very much, and I noticed the other day that it has been a minute since I did a build out here in this world, so I decided to build here today. So we're building a really modern desert house, and we're gonna actually move this house to a different lot in a little bit. I started out with this lot because it always throws me off when I go to build in Oasis Springs and then you have all those lots and neighborhoods that have a lot of grass, and so you're in the desert but it doesn't really look like it. And so at first I thought I really wanted this house to kind of be in the part of Oasis Springs that has sand, and I'm saying Oasis Springs way too much. I'm so sorry about that. I'll try to stop. But yeah, I thought I wanted it to be in a kind of sandy area. And then I realized when I pulled out the terrain paint and I was adding some grass, and then I was like, well, why don't I just build this where there actually is grass instead of painting it on? So I do move this in a little while to one of those other neighborhoods. I don't remember what it's called, to be honest. But yeah, this was a very modern neighborhood as well. I feel like all the houses here kind of were very modern, and so I think it worked out pretty well. But this is pretty much the shell of the house. I did go back and add some more windows on the other sides of the house. As usual, the inspiration for this picture came from Pinterest, so I'll go on and put it on the screen where you guys can see it. And pretty much the front of the house, that's where the front of the house came. That's kind of how I built it. And then for the rest of the house, I kind of had to wing it and figure out where to add some windows and doors and stuff like that. And so usually I would just go on and do all of that first, but this time I actually went on and kind of made the floor plan inside the house before I went to adding windows and stuff, which I think is just because I didn't really know what to do with the rest of the lot, and so I just went on and made the floor plan first. I don't really know why. I never do that, so that's kind of weird. But I had this bamboo tree in front of the house as well at first, and it's a base game bamboo tree, and I don't really like the way it looks, to be honest. I don't know why it bugs me, but it does. But I was going to try to use it for this build, and then I ended up changing it to some of the palm trees that are around Oasis Springs, the ones that, they're base game palm trees. They're not the ones from Sulani, but they fit into the world really nicely. But I don't know, the bamboo tree may have looked better, to be honest. I don't know. Anyway, the landscaping for this house is super simple as well. You can kind of see what I've already done in the front, and basically I do the same thing in the back. It's just a different shape. And so it's very simple, but that's kind of what I like about modern houses, is that you don't have to have just a whole lot of landscaping and you don't have to have a whole lot going on as well. I just kind of like the simplicity of it. And I don't build modern very often, but for some reason when it comes to the desert builds, I feel like modern makes the most sense. And you know, one day I would love to kind of just fill up every lot in the game, like not necessarily a save file, but I just kind of lately have been wanting to delete every house in the game and then just start building up my own world with all my own houses and stuff like that. And Oasis Springs would be the world that would just give me so much trouble. I feel like I said, there's probably other ones. Forgotten Hollow for sure is one of them. And I don't know about Strangerville, the world that came with Strangerville. I don't even know what it's called, but I don't know if I would like that or not. I don't actually have the Strangerville pack right now, but I've seen a lot of people say it's a really pretty world, but it is a desert world as well, so I don't know. But one funny story about desert houses is every time I build here, when I make the thumbnail for the build, I always, not the thumbnail, just the title. When I make the title for the build, I always name it's something to do with the desert. Like I'll do desert house, or I think that's what this one is. I don't know, but usually I have desert somewhere in the title. And it's so funny because when I was in school, one of my classes, we actually had to do some kind of assignment, and I don't even remember what it was or anything like that now, but we were answering some kind of questions or something like that. And it was, I don't remember why, because it was a history class, but somehow or another there was a question about the desert, or that was like part of the answer, and we had all turned in our assignments, and the teacher was kind of looking over them. I don't think she was grading them or anything, but for some reason she was looking over them, and everyone was just kind of doing whatever else we were doing. I don't know. It was a long time ago, but anyway, I do remember that she looked up and was like, you know what? Some of you guys need to learn how to spell desert, because apparently a lot of the class had spelled it like dessert. And that just panicked me so bad that day, and so it's something that I remember even today, and it's so weird because it's such a weird memory. But when I got my assignment back, like, it wasn't wrong. I hadn't spelt it wrong, but I was so convinced that day that I had, and I don't know why, it really stressed me out. And so now anytime that I write the word desert or dessert, I think of that, and I always get paranoid that I'm writing it the wrong way. Maybe that's why I don't like building here. Maybe it's just like some kind of low-key stress from that situation, but anyway, now the shell of the house is pretty much done, and it's pretty simple, and at this point in the building process, I was actually okay with it. I was liking this build, and if you guys have seen, many of my videos, you probably know that I constantly question my builds, and I don't always like them when I'm building or when I get done with them. And so at this point in the build, I was really okay with this. We have like some two-tone situations. We have a couple different wallpapers and stuff. And I was really happy with it. And then I get to the end of the build, and this happens all the time, but I get to the end of the build and then I'm just like, oh my gosh, did it look like that the whole time? I have no idea. But I didn't change anything about it because, I think it looks okay. I think it's just me kind of questioning myself a little bit on that front, because I don't usually build in this world, and so it's kind of hard to like my builds when I do build here. So you guys let me know what you think, of course, though. I always love hearing from you guys. But it's definitely very, very modern, and I don't even think I usually build very modern houses either, so it's definitely a little bit different. But this did turn out to be a 3-bedroom house, and so it's kind of like a family home as well, because one of the bedrooms I made into a kid's room, and I put a single bed in there for like a normal kid or a teen, and then I also put a little toddler bed in there, and I thought that was really cute. But there is one kid's room, and then there's 2 rooms that have a double bed, which you could technically use for a teenager or something like that, but they were just bigger rooms, so I just went on and put the double in there. And it also has 3 bathrooms, which is kind of a lot, but yeah, it ended up having 3 bathrooms, which I'm only going to show you guys one bathroom getting decorated because they're all really similar, and I just don't really like talking about bathrooms. If you guys see my apartment renovation shorts, I really don't like talking about bathrooms. I feel like there's just very little to talk about. I mean, they're all pretty similar, and they all kind of are set up the same way. I mean, you can add, a few different decorations, or you could do things a little bit differently, I guess, but I just don't really like talking about bathrooms very much. But I will mention to you guys too, also for this house, I went on and used some more of the NoCC gallery art, and I'm so glad that I did, because otherwise I would have been really frustrated with this house, because it's very modern, the interior as well as the exterior, and I just don't know if we have that many options for modern paintings in the game. But anyway, I did grab some more of those, and I'll put the creator of the artwork down in the description box if you guys are interested in it. But I was actually going to go on there and look for some desert themed gallery art, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong or if you know a better way to do this. But the only way I know to find it is to go on there and search for the hashtag like NoCC art or something like that. I think that's what I use. And then you can't see specifically anything else, so you couldn't search for like desert, NoCC art or whatever, or I can't figure out how. So you guys let me know if you know of a better way to search for that stuff, because I kind of just grabbed the first few ones that I saw, and they're not really specific to the desert or anything like that, of course, because I couldn't find that, but they're just very modern, and I really like them. I don't have a problem with it, to be honest, but yeah, I don't know how to find anything. Like, if you're looking for something really specific, I don't know how you would find it. And of course, we're so lucky, and we have a ton of creators who upload that art, and everybody has different taste, and then when you have so much of it, then you have a lot to choose from. So sometimes I get really overwhelmed trying to find that, but I really like the paintings that I found for this house. I think they're really cool. Like I said, they might not be a perfect match, like they might not be what I was looking for originally, but I think they look really nice, and hopefully you guys will like it too. But then this is the kitchen area, and the kitchen is massive, if I'm being honest. And the living area of this house is actually really big as well, to be honest, because the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room are all together in this big, huge space. and it's very spacious. You could definitely have a very big family living here as well, but you would have to add some more bedrooms, I guess. But I'm kind of happy with the way the kitchen turned out. Kitchens aren't my favorite rooms to build either, but I kind of like all the windows in this build and all the lighting coming in. It's really pretty, and I liked this kitchen. It was very, very simple. I did go for a very modern look and didn't add a bunch of stuff to it, but I do like the way it turned out. And then I used this massive dining table as well, which isn't really necessary for a 3-bedroom house, but you know, these Sims could always have like lots of parties and stuff, or they could invite their family over or whatever. I really like the big dining table, but it's not super necessary, but the space was big enough for it, so I just kept it in. And then this is the kids' room little area, and I tried to put those little paintings from Tiny Living up in here. That went by really fast. You guys may not have seen it, but I was trying to use those little Tiny Living paintings, the ones that have the plants on them. And the one thing that I wish was different about those paintings is that I wish that they didn't have white frames. And I know that's weird, but I kind of feel like they have a more earthy look about them. But usually when I'm building houses or rooms or apartments or whatever that have a more earthy look or a boho theme, then I'm using a lot more wood tones. And then I want to use those paintings, but then they kind of look weird with the white frame. And I think there was one apartment that I did that I kind of used another painting as well to make a brown frame around it or a wood frame, but it was really difficult and it took a lot of time, and so I don't usually like to do that. So I did get rid of that in the kids' room, and I used another painting instead. But I really like those paintings. To be honest, that's kind of why I got the Tiny Living pack, because I liked those paintings so much. And yeah, I just wish they had a different frame, to be honest. And I don't like all the swatches of that painting either, because I know some of them have wood frames, but I don't really like all of them. And then that one that has the like animal heads that are kind of like an abstract situation. Like I know one of them is a deer. I just don't understand those at all. Like I'm not going to say I've never used them in my builds before, because I may have. If I get desperate enough with artwork, I just start using whatever I can find. But I don't really like them that much. I really like some of them, I just don't like all of the swatches on that one. But I guess this upstairs bedroom would probably be like the main bedroom for this house, because it kind of ended up being the biggest. And so I added a little TV area, and I think I added a desk in here as well, just because we had this empty corner. But that's pretty much it for this build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. Like I said, I always love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon with another speed build.